How does a warthog find enough food on a savanna that is constantly changing? For an adult female warthog and a 6-month-old warthog, survival begins close to the ground. Fresh grass is the easiest food to find. When they reach a good patch, they lower their heads and feet steadily. Warthogs can even rest on their front knees while grazing, allowing their mouths to reach the shortest grass close to the soil. But green grass does not remain everywhere for long. As the ground becomes drier, the adult female warthog begins searching beneath the surface. Using its powerful snout, it pushes into loose soil around roots and plants. Underground roots, bulbs, and other plant material can provide food when the grass above becomes less productive. The 6-month-old warthog stays nearby, following the same feeding areas and learning where food can be found. But warthogs are rarely alone. Guinea fowl search the same ground for seeds and insects they may feed only a few meters away, taking different food from the same small patch of land. Larger animals create another challenge. When baboons arrive at a productive feeding area, the space quickly becomes crowded. The adult female warthog watches them carefully. Neither side gains anything from an unnecessary fight. A small change in position is often enough for both species to continue feeding. Elsewhere, widely scattered fruiting trees offer another opportunity. Ripe fruit falls naturally to the ground. Warthogs feed beneath the trees while vervet monkeys search among the branches above. Sometimes a monkey descends, takes a fallen fruit, and carries it away. Again, there is no need for a fight. Even larger herbivores may approach the same productive ground. The adult female warthog remains alert, especially with the 6-month-old warthog close beside it. This is how warthogs survive changing feeding conditions. They graze when grass is available, dig when food is hidden, exploit fallen fruit, and avoid wasting energy on conflicts they do not need. But finding enough food solves only one part of life on the savanna. Sooner or later, every animal must find water. Why do warthogs risk approaching places where so many other animals gather? Because eventually they need water. Across the open savanna, an adult female warthog and a 6-month-old warthog move toward lower ground. Here, shallow channels, muddy pools, and exposed banks spread across a broad, wet area. Water attracts animals from many directions, and every new arrival changes what happens next. Small birds gather along the edges. Herbivores approach from open ground. Larger animals move through without giving smaller animals much room. The adult female warthog cannot simply concentrate on food. It must watch everything around it. The 6-month-old warthog remains close as the two approach the water. When larger animals pass nearby, the warthogs give them space. Avoiding a collision costs far less energy than challenging an animal. Many times their weight. At a busy water source, conditions can change in seconds. A herd approaching quickly can send birds into the air and smaller animals away from the bank. Dust rises from dry ground while hoofs disturb the shallow water. The warthogs move away from the disturbance and wait. When the immediate danger passes, they can return. But water provides something else that is especially important for a warthog has relatively little protection from the heat of the African sun. Rolling and lying in wet mud coats the skin with a thick layer of cool earth. The adult female warthog lowers its body to the soft earth. The 6-month-old warthog follows nearby. They roll through the wet ground until mud covers much of their bodies. The coating can help cool the skin, and Once it dries, rubbing and movement may also help remove some external parasites. Look. The muddy pool is therefore more than somewhere to become dirty. It functions as a place to drink, cool down and care for the skin. But these benefits come with a price. Water brings many species into the same restricted space, including animals much larger and sometimes much more dangerous than warthog. So the answer is simple. Warthogs approach water because they need it. They survive there by remaining alert, yielding space when necessary, and leaving quickly when the situation changes. And beyond the water, another challenge remains for an adult traveling with a young warthog. Glück. Survival is not only about finding resources, it is also about keeping the younger animal alive. How does an adult warthog protect a young warthog in a landscape filled with danger, not by fighting everything it encounters? An adult female warthog and a 6-month-old warthog move away from the crowded water and back across the savanna. Look, the 6-month-old warthog stays close. In open ground, danger can sometimes be seen from a distance. In taller grass and around dense bushes, it can appear much closer. The adult female warthog repeatedly stops and looks around. Look. Its eyes, ears and sense of smell help detect changes in the surroundings. When something unfamiliar approaches, feeding becomes less important. A 6-month-old warthog remains near the adult female warthog. Look. If another animal comes too close, the adult female warthog can face the threat, lower its head and display its tusks. Sometimes that warning is enough, but confrontation is not the first choice. Look. When there is room to escape, warthogs can run surprisingly fast. The adult female warthog leads the 6-month-old warthog away from danger rather than remaining for an unnecessary fight. Glück. And there is another important refuge. A burrow can turn an exposed animal into a difficult target. When entering a burrow, warthogs commonly back inside. This leaves the head and tusks facing outward toward anything that might follow. Glück. For the 6-month-old warthog, staying close to the adult female warthog greatly improves its chances during these dangerous moments. That is the real strategy behind protecting a young warthog. Glück. Watch well. Stay together. Avoid unnecessary conflict. Run when escape is safer and use the landscape itself as protection. Life on the savanna is not won through strength alone. Glück. For these two warthogs, survival depends on finding food, reaching water, recognizing danger, and knowing when to stand their ground and when to leave.